Hello everyone and welcome to another EBTV sports presentation. Tonight it's high school wrestling as the East Brunswick Bears host the Woodbridge Barrons. I'm Bob Cancro along with Stu Kohn, and we're here to bring you all the action in tonight's GMC wrestling match. Stu, we have the Bears coming off a very nice win over JP Stephens, which is a common opponent with Woodbridge. What's the setup there with these two teams and as far as their matchup there?
Like you said, we do have a common opponent with JP Stephens. East Brunswick came out on top and Woodbridge came out on the bottom end. So if theory holds true, maybe East Brunswick's in good shape tonight, but we have two young teams and it's all about the matchups.
Yeah, this is a very young team. There aren't a lot of seniors on either of these teams, 4 for East Brunswick, so it's a young squad coming in. One of the veterans on East Brunswick is Sergio Garcia, who's done very well for them.
Well, he's the big gun for East Brunswick right now, and Batista for Woodbridge. So we have two talented kids on opposite teams at the top of the lineup, and maybe they might even hit each other tonight. It'd be a good match to see.
Okay, the Woodbridge Barons come in at 2-1. The Bears are 1-1, and we'll be right back with all the action. And we are back at East Brunswick High School in the gym, Stu, where Woodbridge and the Woodbridge Barons and the East Brunswick Bears will be facing off, and we're going to be starting at the 145-pound weight class. Jerry Pojita for the Barons and Garrett Burrell, 152. Either Mike Moore or Garrett Pestuzin against Jordan Brown for the Bears. 160, it's Frank Murgatroyd for the Barons and Ramon Hanna. And what you're seeing right now is at 171, Greg Batista, who was the big gun for the Barons, as you said in the opening, Stu, against Brian Pedrero for the Bears. And there's the big gun for the Bears, Sergio Garcia, at 189. 215, and Woodbridge has a couple of these, Stu, where they have two wrestlers set up for each of those bouts. What's the advantage of that? We've talked about this before, but why have two guys out there?
Well, they're going to try to get the matchup they want by juggling their lineup a little bit, and all that's going to depend on the coin toss, which we haven't seen yet. And
it looks like either Jose Gonzalez or Vin Rodriguez at 215. Well, one of them will move up to 275 because they both stayed out there for the introduction against the Bears' Jimmy Ryder. And then we pop down to the 103-pound weight class. Brian Chin for the Barons and Matt Parabello for the Bears. 112, Jerry Valdez for the Barons and Brant Shine for the Bears. 119, Chuck Sabin, and a name that we've heard many years here in East Brunswick, Matt Ackerman. At least the Ackerman name has been around for a long time. Brothers Tim and Brian have wrestled for the Bears. Chris Mercado at 125 against the Bears' Nick Parabello, brother. Matt Buchan at 130, and Kenny Charleston, the Bears' grappler. Now 135, originally the Barons had two people lined up there. They're going to be putting out Adrian Dukowitz, and for the Bears, it's either Chris Williams or Mark Wu. And the last match of the night will be the veteran Todd Marriott for the Bears and Dave Figueroa for Woodbridge.
Well, we gave Sergio some kudos before the match. East Brunswick does have some other, standout wrestlers in the lineup. Matt Ackerman has come a long way and was off to a tremendous start last year before he got hurt. So, look for Matt to be back where he left off when he was healthy last year. And Todd Marriott and Brian Pedrero's having a good season as well.
Well, he's going to be going up against Craig Batista, so that should be an interesting matchup. Pedrero took second place in the Bears tournament back in December that was hosted over at Churchill Junior High School, and Batista, of course, is the GMC champion at 152. This year moving up to 171.
Woodbridge will be red tonight. East Brunswick green.
Makes it nice and easy for the official. Woodbridge comes in red, and East Brunswick wearing green singlets.
Okay.
East Brunswick elects odd position.
Our ref, Don Waldron, is mic'd up tonight, so we should get some insight from the middle of the mat as well.
So why don't you give a quick explanation? They just had the coin toss. The Bears chose the odd bouts, meaning what for them?
They'll put out the man first on the mat on the odd bouts, and every other one, the even ones, Woodbridge will have to put the man out first. And when the other school can see the opponent, that'll help them decide who they're going to send out to the mat.
Okay. far too much strategy. When I was I was coaching, it was a lot easier just to who's got choice. And
I think the mats were sand back then, though. Coach.
They weren't quite that bad, Coach. You don't let up on that, do you? And we are beginning here at 145 pounds. Jerry Pajita for the Barons and Garrett Burrell for the Bears, still in a neutral position. As Burrell got in pretty deep, he's going to try to pull that arm down and keep that hook.
That Burrell name's been around East Brunswick quite some time. Garrett's dad was a wrestler back in the 70s for East Brunswick. Rather tenacious one at that.
Yes, sir. Deep penetration by Pajita. He lifts him up. He's got to bring him down easy, and he does for a takedown.
Woodbridge on the board first here. At 145, takedown's worth 2 points.
He's got Burrell's leg split there. He had him for a second, and now he's looking to try look at cradle. Looks like on the top.
Well, Garrett's got to establish some hand control. Try to work back up to his feet. Got to get his head off the mat. Look to explode.
Pajita's got pretty good control. He seems well balanced. He's staying back.
Seems like these names get harder and harder every year, Coach.
I just can't read them anymore, Stu. It's tougher for me to read the lettering.
It's the second time I'm seeing you in 1 week.
That's right. We were down in Houston, Texas for the Texas Bowl, with Rutgers beating Kansas State. We got a chance to visit each other down there, and it was a very big victory for the Scarlet Knights.
Exciting trip.
Great trip.
I'm ready to go again. How about you?
I'm absolutely. Well, right now, Pajita looks like he's working a crossface and trying to work the cradle. He's got top and bottom, although Burrell has peeled off his hands, and he's trying to come around on him now. He's might get a step out there. Doesn't have a lot of control with a leg.
Well, Garrett needs to sit through here and try to cut the corner.
Just 15 seconds remaining here in the first period. And barring a sudden flurry of activity, it looks like we may end up with that score at the end of one. Jerry Pajita for the Barons leading 2-0 after the first period.
Okay, so East Brunswick had their choice. They elected to take choice in the third period to further choice. Woodbridge selects bottom.
We've commented over the course of years when we've been doing these how there's a little more strategy on the part of the kids, deferring whether they feel comfortable on top or bottom. As Pajita comes to his feet pretty quickly.
Okay, Garrett's responsibility now is to bring the wrestler to the mat. The referee will give you a few seconds in that position. Then you have to bring your opponent down. You know, Garrett didn't do that in a timely fashion. He was warned for stalling. The second time would be a 1-point violation.
Okay. Pretty quick from Pajita to get out there. Almost a class of locking hands and a reversal.
Pajita cuts the corner, completes the move for 2 points, takes a 4-0 lead with 40 seconds to go here in the second period. Garrett's got to keep working up. He's got a minute and a half on one clock and 20 seconds on the other, so.
We have a problem on our clocks. They're not synced up.
So I'm going to go with the minute 17.
I think that's safer to say. Garrett Burrell is a senior.
I was going to say it was an awful fast second period.
Yeah, I know. Burrell's a senior, and Pajita is a junior wrestling for Woodbridge. They're in their red and black uniforms.
So it looks like the 1 is out on the scoreboard behind the East Brunswick.
That must be it.
Yeah.
He's trying to throw a leg. He got the left leg in there on a cross body. And working the wrist as they are on the edge. Now they've got to come back inside.
Well, Pajita's been the aggressor. He's been, controlling the tempo thus far. We're going to get a fresh start in the middle with 33 seconds to go here in the second.
It is 4-0. Jerry Pajita of Woodbridge leading Garrett Burrell of the Bears here in the first match of tonight's matchup between two teams. The Bears are in the red division. This is a crossover match as the Barons are in the white, and they have a pretty good shot at taking the championship in the white division. They have been a very strong club over the last few years.
Well, the big factor there is South Plainfield being in the red now. There hasn't been too much sharing in any division title when South Plainfield's been in your bracket.
Tigers have been the power. I mean, the power shift is definitely happening in Middlesex County wrestling. South Plainfield has dominated. You had Old Bridge for many years. You had Cedar Ridge doing well. East Brunswick had their share, South Brunswick. But South Plainfield has just been so dominant.
Well, it seems like everybody has their peaks and valleys,
Sure.
but South Plainfield, they just seem to reload every year, and everybody else has to rebuild.
Kevin McCann has just done a phenomenal job. They're continuing what Bill Pavlak had a few years back, and that's the one loss that the Bears have, and it was a pretty sound loss as they only won one bout on the evening against the Tigers last week.
And that was Sergio Garcia coming out on top. So we're in the third. Pajita on top of Burrell. We're at 4-0. Burrell needs to get back in this match and avoid giving up any more points. If the match should end in a spread of 8 or more points, it'd be a 4-point decision team score, and that's called a major decision.
As we intend to enlighten as well as entertain.
When we can.
When we can. Well, Garrett Burrell really has not had much going here. Pajita has been a very dominant force. He's been very aggressive, as you said before, and he's got good weight control. He's been controlling the hips and keeping Burrell down on the mat. He's trying to bar that arm right now. But easily in control right now as we approach the 1-minute mark in the third period.
Only on the left clock.
On the left clock. It's period's over on the right as we face the mat.
Pajita's done a nice job of keeping Burrell tied up. Not really giving him the opportunity to free himself up.
But he has now been warned.
That's actually a point. That's the second time, if I'm correct.
No, well, no, he warned. No, that's got to be a mistake, because was that a second warning for?
You get one freebie, and then on the second one, it's a 1-point violation.
When was the first? I missed the first one then, Stu.
You're having a little siesta there.
I'm sorry.
That was your first period nap.
Well, Burrell was warned in the second period when he didn't bring him back to the mat.
You are 100% correct.
Thank you. I didn't think I took that siesta.
Maybe we should buzz in here, but if maybe they know something we don't know.
Pajita cut him loose, looking to build on the lead, give him one in an effort to get two. He did the takedown in the first period, and now he has a shot at it again. By my recollection and by my record, it should be 4-1, not 5-1.
You're correct.
Pajita got around. There's
no. It was Burrell who had him up on his feet. It was Burrell that got warned. I'm thinking back now. So
yeah,
but
he did get the takedown at the end. Did Jerry Pajita?
Burrell doing a nice job of keeping it a 3-point decision, hanging tough. So Woodbridge on the board first. They're going to take a 3-0 lead going into 152, where we're going to see Jordan Braun for East Brunswick against Mike Moore from Woodbridge.
Maggie, is this more? This more for them? Quick takedown for Jordan Braun for the Bears.
Very quick.
And that is the first takedown that the first offensive points that the Bears have scored.
So when Braun brings the opponent down to the mat, he's got to release his hands. You can't lock your hands on the mat unless you're in a pinning combination. You can use your hands in a lock position for the takedown, but once you hit the mat, you just have reaction time to release the lock.
Well, 25 seconds gone here in the first period. They roll out of bounds, and Braun on top over Mike Moore.
When they go out of bounds, they'll get a fresh start in the middle in the same position they went out of bounds in.
Good control as he brings him back down to the mat, controlling the wrist.
It's Braun on top in the green, riding an ankle and a near wrist.
The Moore has been able to get out. If you saw in the first match, go back to that for a second, and Pajita had pretty good control, controlling the hips, keeping his opponent down on the mat. Braun has not been able to do that. Moore has been able to free his hips, as you saw there, as he breaks him down now. With about a minute to go here in the first period at 152 pounds, Jordan Braun for the Bears leading 2-0.
What Jordan's got to be conscious of is working out to the side. You can't ride your opponent in a parallel position. You'll eventually get warned for stalling. Braun needs to, he's doing well with the arm bar and working it well, but he's got to come out to the side with it. Our official's Don Waldron, seasoned veteran official, and he's not afraid to call stalling.
And as we have often talked about, that's the most controversial and the most subjective call you're going to have in wrestling. He's got one count there, but now we're out of bounds. You heard Don Waldron say on the line, so there is no count. Once they're at least one shoulder outside the line, they can't get back points, and there won't be a count.
Donnie just recently passed his 5th degree black belt test. So in addition to being a wrestling official, he's expert in the martial arts.
And that's why you're so nice to him, I guess. Pretty good control now by Jordan Braun as he's got Mike Moore down on the mat. 20 seconds to go here in the first period and maintaining a 2-0 lead.
Still down.
Continue my history lesson for you. He's a former wrestler for Union High School.
Okay.
Class of 1978.
The baby.
To some of us.
So, under 10 seconds to go here in the first period. Jordan Braun leading 2-0. And this period will come to a close with the Bear on top, 2-0.
Braun doing an awful lot of work out there for 2 points. He's been the aggressor. He's been controlling the tempo of the match.
Mike Moore's choice. He will defer. You saw the crossed arms there. He defers, which gives Braun the choice, and he's going on the bottom. The strategy there being you score from the defensive position.
East Brunswick coached by Glenn Pazinko, assisted by his brother Matt Cristianazzo, and a new addition to the coaching staff is Steve Roy from the famous family of Roy wrestling brothers.
Braun gets the escape and he goes up 3-0.
Andy Scanlon not coaching with the team now. He's administrator down at Churchill.
He's a vice principal over there.
And that would exclude you from the coaching ranks, be it an East Brunswick rule. I think that's somewhat synonymous in most towns.
In most places, it's almost time-wise, it's almost impossible because there are too many things that go on after school where an administrator and Braun gets a takedown.
Nice shrug and go behind.
Quick,
and that brings his lead up to 5-0. So let's look for Braun to work on that. Trying to get in on a tilt now. Trying to work a ball and chain, and they go out of bounds. They'll get a fresh start.
1:15 to go here in the second period. At 152 pounds, the second match of the night. The Bears are trailing 3-0 on the team score, but right now Jordan Braun looking with a very comfortable 5-0 lead here at 152. Now, as you said, Stu, he can't stay parallel as he is right now. He's got to move outside.
And I think the only thing saved him is not much activity on the bottom from Woodbridge, and it's Woodbridge that gets the warning. I think the aggressiveness of Jordan has carried him through that situation there.
Well, you can have a lot of movement, and there was some aggressiveness there. It didn't really result in anything, but as you said, it kind of covered his. It covered the weaknesses there, if you want to call it that, or the lack of.
Well, the official will give you a few seconds to stay parallel. He'll look for you to put a move in, work the move. If nothing advances, then you're looking at the stall call.
Don't move.
I kind of like starting at 145 right in the middle. It's kind of nice.
Well, of course, those who have never, are only new to wrestling in the last couple of years, where they started rotating and picking at random where they started bouts. It used to be the lightest weight to the heavyweights, and the heavyweights really had a tremendous burden and pressure on them. They always were the last bout, and so often it would come down to them. So I think it's a lot nicer to spread that pressure around, and you've got kids at different spots that work out better. Kids in the middle may just be the best ones you want to start off. They may be your strength, and you want to pop out right away. It's not a bad thing to have.
And that's a random draw. The coaches just pick out of a hat, and that's where they begin. For tournaments, though, that rule doesn't apply. When you go to a tournament, they'll always start at the lower weight class.
The second period comes to a close. Jordan Braun picked up 3 points in that period to give him a 5-0 lead here at 152. And right now, Mike Moore of Woodbridge will choose a neutral position. They're going to go on their feet. And he figures this might be the best way to get some quick points, go to the back. Good penetration by Braun.
Just muscle on his opponent to his back. He's going to pick up at least 4 here. 2 for the takedown and 2 more for the back. That gets his lead up to 9-0.
Well, those bonus points, as you often say, are so important. Right now, Jordan Braun is in a position to pick up a major decision for the Bears if he can keep this lead.
Well, Batista for Woodbridge, they have him weighed in tonight at 171. He's been at 189, and if I understand, inevitably he'll end up at 160 by the county tournament time. There is some new rules as well off the mat with weight management, where a wrestler can only lose a certain percentage of his body fat per week.
Okay.
I'm not going to get into the stats and the numbers, but there's a pace of how low a wrestler can go, how fast, which puts an athlete coming off a football season at somewhat of a disadvantage. You want to bulk up for football, now cut down for wrestling, and they put limitations to how many pounds you can drop per week. So in I think Batista's case, he's not eligible percentage body fat wise to somewhere in the end of January to get down to 160.
We'll continue that discussion, but right now Jordan Braun picked up another point on a stall by Moore, and he is now leading 10-0.
We're going to probably see a stalemate here if we don't have any advancement. Referee giving Woodbridge the benefit of the doubt that maybe he can come around and cut the corner, but if nothing advances soon, we'll get a stalemate here.
Well, right now, Braun doesn't want to give up 2. He wants to either regain control or give him 1 and not 2. And he does come around again, which is a nice job there. 13 seconds to go in the regulation. Jordan Braun leading 10-0. He is in a position to pick up that 4-point major decision.
Don't move, Red.
So it's Braun on top with 7 seconds to go here in the 3rd period, and it looks like he's going to pick up a major decision for East Brunswick and put them up in team score 4-3.
A 10-0 win by Jordan Braun at 152 pounds, and the Bears lead 4-3. You know, Stu, just to go back for a second on that whole weight loss, over the last, 5 or 6 years, I guess, it's been a very concerted effort by the National Federation and by New Jersey as well to control weight loss situations. It was always something that people criticized wrestlers about and wrestling about, the fact that kids were losing all kinds of weight. It was unhealthy. And what they've now done is it's much more regulated. There's a lot more concern and science involved in maintaining those weight situations. And we'll continue that discussion here. We got Frank Murgatroyd for the Barons and Ramon Hanna for the Bears. We're not giving any records, by the way, because unfortunately the manager does not have those records available to us. So we're just going with what we've got. And but the one thing I would have to say here is that Frank Murgatroyd does have the record, at least 160 pounds for tattoos.
Yeah, so far.
Physically, Murgatroyd looks like a much stronger wrestler.
Is that Holy Murgatroyd or just Murgatroyd there?
Heavens too.
Heavens too. Okay, you're
Frank
right.
Murgatroyd is. Anyway, Frank Murgatroyd gets a takedown.
You're always a much better Jeopardy player than I was.
Well, I tried. Locks him up with that front cradle.
Hannah's got to kick out of that and bicycle his legs and try to break that hold. Murgatroyd has it in pretty tight.
Rocks him back.
Hannah to his back.
Just under a minute gone in this period, and a quick fall.
It's going to put Woodbridge on top, 9-4.
1 minute and 4 seconds of the first period. Frank Murgatroyd with a fall over Ramon Hanna. And the Barons take a 9-4 lead, as you said.
And now we're going to get Craig Batista, county champ last year, 152 pounds at 171 here. And he's going to be taking on, let's see who the Bears are going to counter with. Looks like Brian Pedrero, if I pronounce that right.
Yep. Pedrero is a senior.
Batista's tough, and I think Brian can give him a match, though. So let's see what we got here.
Well, a third-place finisher at Region 5 last year was Batista, and he gets a quick takedown on Pedrero.
Quick dump, right in, takedown in at the back points. We know Batista as being the brother of Joe Bubenheimer, former Woodbridge standout wrestler.
There were back points, as you said. Batista goes up 4-0 here at 171 pounds.
Off the net. Work off the net.
Batista working a crossface. Got the near leg hooked. Good student in the classroom as well, Batista.
As they go out of bounds, 1:08 to go here in the first period.
Get set. Don't move.
Batista stays back on the legs.
Work up on that. Work up on that.
You can hear Don Waldron saying, work up on that. You can't stay down on the legs. He's got to.
Well, he's in a Navy ride. And Batista has to either work up or switch holds. Even though he's up 4-0, you know, it doesn't stop that you can do the old stall, be a fender of the stall call, even with a lead.
Pedrero was making his way up, but pretty much it looked like Batista might have given him that. Having gotten the quick takedown to begin with, he'll give him the one with an opportunity to get two.
Batista's best on his feet. He's a good takedown wrestler. Not a high scorer like his brother was, not a big pinner, but he always seems to come out on top.
He mentioned Ed Brownsdorf, and he's been his 7th year now as a head coach at Woodbridge, and Ed has done a very nice job of turning this Woodbridge program around. Their rec program was pretty strong, going back about 10 years, and he's been the beneficiary, but he's also worked with these kids as they've gotten to the high school, and he's done a very good job of producing champions and solid wrestlers and very competitive teams, and more than just competitive.
Well, what is missing over there is Sean Daly, who had been coaching, former East Brunswick wrestler, had been coaching at Woodbridge, and now he's concentrating on officiating.
Well, Sean, I saw Sean come in tonight. I had to pay his way in, so that probably hurt a little bit, but as any of us have to pay our way into matches.
It's Batista with the escape. Brings his lead up to 5-1. 1:45 to go in the second. The referee instructing the wrestlers to circle in, wrestle in the middle. Wants to keep the action going.
Pedrero able to get away from that ankle pick. Batista was not able to control it. He's got that front lock. And Batista working that dump. Pedrero not in a good position here, but able to fight back and get the sprawl. So a good fight by Brian Pedrero to get out of that. It looked like he was in a lot more trouble than he was, and now he's got an ankle and is trying to spin. He's got to get his legs back and do more spinning to his left. Sprawl a little more, get around, and he could get the two. Right now there's nothing. Batista with his wrist, controlling the wrist and preventing that control from being gained. 55 seconds to go here. Still in neutral.
Still neutral. On your feet.
Didn't see exactly what happened, but they called it. Could you see that, Stu, on a potentially dangerous call? Don Walden was on the other side facing the kids, and so something must have been going on. An arm must have been turning the wrong way, or a knee popped out the wrong way. And you know, as difficult and challenging as wrestling can be, it's also pretty safe in the fact that you've got that one official with two competitors. And
well, that's his first concern out there, the official, is the safety of the wrestlers. You know, preventing an injury is more important than any pin or points that could be scored.
Neutral.
10 seconds to go here in the second period. 5-1 the lead for Craig Batista at 171 pounds, and they're going to have a stalemate. No significant action happening there. 6 seconds to go. And it looks like the second period will come to a close.
Your choice, Screen.
Pedrero will have the choice. He takes bottom. 5-1 the lead for Batista. And we're in the West.
Caution red.
Okay, red. Batista beat the whistle a little bit,
Yeah,
so he gets a caution. He's entitled to 2 cautions. On a third offense, it'd be a 1-point violation.
Hand on the belly moved a little fast. Down by 4, Brian Pedrero has to initiate some action here, and he peels away for 1.
1 green.
5-2 the score now.
Yeah, Brian's come a long way for the Bears. He's made some great advancements, and just as I say that, he gets taken down. Batista increases his lead to 7-2. Brian needs to belly down. 5-point away from the situation.
Sorry, so 5-point lead for the Baron. Here in the third period, just under a minute to go in regulation.
No, that's illegal. Have to have all 4 fingers. That's 1 red.
Interesting call. Thought we had 1-point escape for East Brunswick. Turns out to be a 1-point technical violation. Referee felt on the way up, Brian peeled the fingers back of Batista.
Well, he was doing what he was supposed to, which is to peel those hands out. Yeah. But as you heard the explanation from Don Waldron, he's got to have all 4. You can't be peeling back just 2 at a time. That's a little more painful.
Not a call we often see.
No.
But that is the case in wrestling.
Well, again, it's safety, and you know, as much as people think there's a lot of pain involved, and there can be, it's also not encouraged to inflict it unnecessarily or out of the ordinary. A 6-point lead for Batista here with 25 seconds to go in the third. Trying to rock him back for a couple more, and 2 points would give him a major decision, and right now he's got that. He's got back points as Don Waldron was counting. He's still got the same combination. Now he's broken it for the near fall.
Now Brian needs to get 1 back in 5 seconds, bring this back down to regular decision. It's just not going to happen. We're going to run out of time. And Batista, with those 2 points, turns this into a major decision, and that technical violation comes into play now. That extra point changes the complexity of the score of the match.
Well, you had 1 point that Woodbridge got and 1 point that East Brunswick did not get
2-point
on that
swing.
escape. So that was a big swing right there. Gave him the 8-point margin. And it brings us to 189 pounds, where the Bears' top wrestler, Sergio Garcia, will be coming out.
Looks like we got a little chess game here. Woodbridge is waiting to see who East Brunswick puts out.
This is a match that East Brunswick has to put forward first, and it's not going to be Garcia.
East Brunswick's going to do their own jockeying. See if we can get a name on this for East Brunswick. It's Trafilo Gutierrez for Woodbridge, I believe, and we just need a name for East Brunswick here. We're in a head-to-head tie-up. I believe this is Jimmy Ryder for East Brunswick. He's got a little help from our stat girls who do a great job here at East Brunswick.
And that's Trafilo Gutierrez for the Barons. So the chess match goes on here. Ryder, I'm sorry, Stu.
No, go ahead. We're just in a head-to-head tie.
Yeah, Ryder obviously weighed in at 189 with Garcia, and although they didn't come out to be introduced together, it must have been something that was thought about by Glenn Pazinko for quite some time, and he's now made that move.
It all goes back to that coin toss that we talked about. That simple flip of that disc can play a role in the dual meet. East Brunswick coming off a big win, we should add, the other night. They handedly beat J.P. Stevens, which is a red division matchup. And it looks like it's Ryder that's going to score first.
Now that was a good win for the Bears. I mean, certainly they had a very tough match against South Plainfield where they really took a thumping there. Just a dominant performance by the Tigers, and it was important that they come back and make a statement. And Stevens is a resurgent program now in Middlesex County. I mean, Stevens had been a powerhouse when Steve Povolak was coaching years ago. They sort of fell in some bad times for a while, and now they've come back, and they are. So it was a good win.
Well, they're under a first-year coach, Mike Sider, who comes over after a successful career at Bernards High School, and Steve Giordano, who you all know in wrestling. Us that follow it, has just stopped coaching to concentrate on his 3 sons who wrestled nowhere else but South Plainfield. So the future looks bright, as always, for the Tigers with 3 Giordanos in the farm system.
Ryder has to watch that bar, but a little bit high there. You know, the fact that Steve Giordano has stepped down, it brings up the point that there's been quite a change of the guard in Middlesex County wrestling. Glenn Pazinko, now in his 16th year with the Bears, is one of the senior members of the coaching fraternity. Wow. You've got Joe Doherty over at South Brunswick, I think at 18 years, and Mike Giordano at Perth Amboy at 18 years. But Bill Volov is gone now.
Yeah.
Who was the dean of wrestling
after 26 years, I believe.
So there's a lot of new faces. You've got Carteret coming in now as a varsity program. New Brunswick in his 2nd year as a varsity program again. Highland Park with a new coach this year. So a lot of changes taking place, and younger new faces appearing all across Middlesex County.
Doing your homework, Coach.
Yeah, I've been reading a little bit.
Looks like Coach Pazinko did his homework too with moving Jimmy Ryder down and Sergio up. You know, the object here is, instead of maybe a split, to come away with 2 victories. And right now, East Brunswick's down and team scored 13-4. So let's see if the move pays off. Of course, we'll have to see it all the way through, see if it does. But so far, midway into the 2nd period, it's looking like a successful way to go. Certainly favoring the Bears.
Well, Garcia has been a mainstay of the Bears' middle and upper weights over the last 3 years. And Sergio's done a great job. He was a champion this year at the East Brunswick tournament, in which the Bears took a 2nd behind Matawan. And Sergio has been a consistent performer for them throughout. So, you know, he's the rock that you're looking for in that upper weight classes. And as Ryder gets in on a knee pick, the trip and the control for 2.
Nice job by Ryder. Increases his lead to 5-0.
The
135 seconds to go. Now
he's got to bring him inside.
Right, he won't score back points because the shoulders have to be within the line. So, if Ryder can, well, ran out of real estate. But if Ryder was able to pull him back in, he would be able to get some back points.
You saw Don Waldron just signaling up and down like that, indicating he was on the line and there were no points being scored. And as you said, he would have had to have brought him back in, and he just didn't have enough leverage to do that. "15 seconds here in the 2nd period." You hear Don Waldron say straight across.
Nice job by Ryder.
Good bar in there.
Working the bar and hammerlock coming out to the side. That's not a good position to be in for Woodbridge right now. And he's saved by the bell.
A 5-0 lead for Jimmy Ryder here at 189 pounds over Trujillo Gutierrez for the Barons. And they will choose neutral, Gutierrez does, go on his feet.
Next week we'll be back where the East Brunswick Bears will be taking on Piscataway Chiefs. Hopefully we'll be a little more versed and have some records for you and some grades and fill you in on what we're missing tonight.
Some other points of interest and we try to fill you in with. We hope that we occasionally keep you entertained as you're watching these matches and informed as well. Gutierrez takes a quick shot, nothing there, and Ryder with a good counter and a takedown goes up 7-0, and a win here would be very important. So as you said, the chess match going back and forth, Glenn Pazinko moving, Sergio Garcia probably up, Jimmy Ryder's here moving up to, or moving down, I guess, to 189, and getting some back points as well.
Ryder's got it tight. He's got that arm tied up. He's got to get that head off the mat. Got a lot of time to work with.
He's a little bit high.
Wants to arch his back here. Try to get his opponent's head off the mat. Take away the brace
He's got to put some weight on that chest.
He's going to pick up 3 back points nevertheless, but hopefully we can convert this into a pin. He's got a minute to work with. And there it is.
5 minutes and 3 seconds of the third period. Jimmy Ryder with a fall. A big win for the Bears as they pull within 3, 13-10. And so the first half of the switch was a successful one. And this now is Sergio Garcia for the Bears at 215 pounds.
Well, where did Sergio start when we first saw him back about 3 years ago?
About 3 years ago?
He's climbed those weight classes.
He enjoys those meals, I guess, but he's a big boy.
Yeah, coming off the football field. He had a good football season.
He has played very well for the Bears, and does he play lacrosse too? Is that, am I mistaken?
I can't vouch for it, but something tells me he's a 3-sport guy.
Yeah. But he has been wrestling up through the rec program, and I first saw him when he was probably around 8 or 9 years old and about a third his size right now.
Yeah, comes from a real nice family. And
good folks. Very supportive family.
Yep.
Gets in deep and gets the takedown.
Dad's always been a gentleman on and off the mat, and sometimes we know the stress of being a father, your son wrestling can really, get to you. And Garcia working.
He's got the leg hooked. He's working the upper body as well.
Trying to slip in a half. Needs to be conscious of his real estate to work with too as they go out of bounds.
You're down, Woodbridge.
Garcia's going to start on top, up 2-0, with 1:01 to go in the first. Look for Garcia to be aggressive, continue lurking for the fall. Goes to a far ankle, tight waist. Trying to chop. Got a tight waist. Working the near half. And just muscles, just counters with some muscle there. And
good balance by Garcia.
Takes Woodbridge right to his back. Picks up 3 more. Extends his lead to 5-0. Woodbridge wrestler has to be careful of stalling here. Not a lot of activity on bottom.
Sergio has always had very good balance, and he's always been very strong, even as a young wrestler.
Look for the cradle here.
Brings him back, locks it up.
He's got it tight.
And a fall. Wow. 1 minute, 37 seconds of the first period.
And that puts East Brunswick back on top in this dual meet, 16-13.
And that has to please Glenn Pazinko. The performance by both those wrestlers, and also the fact that the strategy worked out.
It's Alex Cartelli taking the mat for East Brunswick. And it looks like he's going to take on Vin Rodriguez.
I'm sorry, Vin Rodriguez was the last wrestler.
Jose Gonzalez.
This is Jose Gonzalez.
Okay.
Gonzalez.
See the print's getting smaller. That's what it is.
I found that very disturbing that the newspapers have been using smaller and smaller fonts over the years. Gonzalez is a senior, and Cartelli is only a sophomore. So this is an interesting matchup. When you get that age differential and the maturity factor often plays into it. Gonzalez getting in and popping his head out for the control and takedown to lead Alex Cartelli 2-0 here. With just over 30 seconds.
As we go out of bounds, we're going to get a fresh start once again in the middle.
So just to mention something real quick, the East Brunswick High School Wrestling Club will be doing a fundraiser using Applebee's over in Milltown on January 16th. We don't have all the information here, but just to keep that in mind, if you're a fan for of East Brunswick Wrestling, as a caution on Gonzalez. If you, we don't have the website right with us because the webmaster here could not recall the full extent of the, it's a rather lengthy address, but to keep that in mind, if you Google, and there's a locking hands by Gonzalez.
One green, locking hands.
So a couple of mistakes now by Gonzalez has given Alex Cartelli some life. I was about to say, if you Google East Brunswick Wrestling, as Google becomes a verb. You can probably locate that information, get to their website, and be able to find out. But on the 16th, you need a flyer that you'll be able to download, and that will be a fundraiser for the East Brunswick High School Wrestling Club. And the parents in East Brunswick have always been very supportive of the program and do a lot as far as awards and the banquets and the foods and helping in tournaments. So if you can give a hand to them, I'm sure they appreciate that. And next week when we do the Piscataway match, maybe we'll get that website and have that for you. And a quick escape by Alex Cartelli, and we are even up at 2-2.
Well, while we're giving out some cadeaux, some goes to Mike Duhigg, who's just done a phenomenal job at the East Brunswick Little Guys in the wrestling club. 116 kids in the program, eighth grade and down. Really rejuvenated the numbers, so hopefully the future looks bright here in East Brunswick too.
Oh, head and arm by Cartelli. By Gonzalez, rather.
With a head and arm, and for a fall, and that's going to increase their lead. Seesawing back and forth. It's 19-16 in favor of the Barons, as we're going to go to the little guys next with Brian Chen of Woodbridge and Matt Parabello for East Brunswick.
Alex Cartelli kind of gave away some points on the violation, a caution, and then the escape that he gave up to Brother Gonzalez gave it to Cartelli, but that head and arm, a deadly move. One most coaches hate, but you know, when it works for you, it's a great thing. And Woodbridge up 19-16. As you said, a seesaw battle going back and forth. Go down to 103 pounds. Brian Chin for the Barons, Matt Parabello, one of the two Parabello brothers wrestling for the Bears this here. Chin a sophomore and Parabello only a freshman, so two young kids, as you very often find at the lighter weights. Parabello hanging on to that leg as Chin tries to throw that leg across and step through.
That's what Parabello needs to do, is holding on that leg for dear life right now and hold out for a stallman, and he's successful in doing that. So we're going to get a fresh start with 0-0 on the board here at 103.
The Barons up 19-16. As we mentioned earlier, there's one common opponent early on in the season here. Both teams wrestled J.P. Stevens. The Bears being victorious pretty solidly, 40-21, and Stevens beating Woodbridge 48-19. So, you know, I'd have to take a closer look at the matchups there, but just as you always say, Stu, it really comes down to the matchups as Parabello gets in quickly on a leg, but could not finish it off.
Chin trying to step over.
And again, we're in that same position.
Parabello needs to stay tight on that leg.
They are still neutral.
Needs to square off and try to face Chen.
He's got to get up. Nope, rolled the wrong way. Yep. Now he's got the 2 and back points.
Needs to belly down. Needs to try to get parallel and belly down and doing
16
a nice job
seconds
of fighting.
to go. He's got to, as you said, keep coming. He's got to go to his right and a fall. With 13 seconds to go in the first period, Brian Parabello was doing well, hanging on there, and then just turned the wrong way, and Brian Chin finished it off. Matt Parabello, I'm sorry saying that.
Well, Brant Shine's going to take the mat for East Brunswick here at 112 against Jerry Valdez of Woodbridge, and Brandon Shine's also come a long way for East Brunswick. Got some varsity experience last year, did well. Now he's going to take on Jerry Valdez. Shine looks like he's going to have a leverage advantage, long and lanky.
Well, just as Woodbridge had to stop the bleeding after that switch at 189 and 215, right now the Bears have to do the same. We've traded off 4 pins now in the last 4 bouts. And the Barons have a 9-point lead.
Well, Valdez trying to head an arm, and Shine countered nicely, stepped out to the side. Now he needs to pop his head out and spin around to pick up his 2-point takedown.
Is that a headlock? No, he had
the arm in there.
Had the arm in circle.
Yep.
Okay, just looked a little odd there for a second.
Personally, my body can't even bend that way.
I'm not even going to comment.
And it's Shine coming around for a takedown. Referee stops the match.
Well, just as Matt Parabello rolled the wrong way and got caught by chin at 103, here at 112, Jerry Valdez spun the wrong way, and Brant Shine was able to take advantage of that for the takedown. 122 left in the first period. 2-0, Brant Shine of the Bears leading over Jerry Valdez. But on the team scoreboard, Woodbridge up 25-16, as you can see on the screen.
Well, it's certainly not an insurmountable lead. It's, kind of normal in wrestling. That lead can seesaw back and forth. Wrestling's a winner take all. You can have every bout 4-3, and the final team score could be 63-0. It's unfortunately you don't get any points for coming close in wrestling. It's either you do or you don't.
Well, we have 5 more bouts after this one, so there's a lot of wrestling left.
Well, there's potential for 30 points. So East Brunswick still in the match. Certainly can use to pick up some bonus points here from Shine, one of the stronger wrestlers in the Bear lineup.
A little sloppy there, but pretty good recovery by Shine, although he may give up the escape here. Or 2.
Shine doing a nice job staying with it. Needs to.
And I'll give Donnie Waldron a little credit, too, the referee, for a good no call on that.
Good hold.
He's got the leg hooked in there. 17 seconds to go here in the first period, working that crossface. Trying to stretch it across for some back points. 10 to go.
Coach Pazinko not happy with the call. Felt the wrestlers were still in bounds, and the referee might have blown him out a little prematurely. We're going to get a blood timeout for Woodbridge. We'll talk about that. There's a total of 5 minutes that could be accumulated throughout the bout for tending the blood. If it should, I don't think I've ever seen it exceed 5 minutes. But the wrestler's entitled to a total of 5 minutes for blood. And we get a look at the East Brunswick bench right now.
Well, the blood rule was put in about, 7 or 8 years ago, maybe a little bit more. And from a couple of different standpoints. One, for safety and health reasons, to protect the wrestlers, protect everyone else. And also the idea that, in theory, you could go on forever if you had blood.
Right.
And
now in college, there's not a similar rule. They don't have the 5-minute limit.
Okay.
It's strictly a high school rule. Now you're also entitled to 90 seconds of injury time, which is cumulative. And on the second stoppage, your opponent would get choice position when you come back out to wrestle.
And that rule has changed over the last few years as well. It's been a little bit tweaked and fine-tuned. They come back with 5 seconds, and I have to admit, I'm going to agree with Glenn Pazinko. I thought they were still in bounds, but Don Waldron did call them out, and as the period comes to a close, still first period, 2-0 lead for Brant Shine of the Bears. He has choice, and he defers.
Brant takes neutral.
And Valdez wants to be on his feet. He gave up a takedown in the first period. Tries a little shrug. And they step out. A shot taken by Valdez, a little careless. Pretty good recovery as Shine tries to step through and does get his takedown.
And he's going to pick up some more.
This could be a big turnaround for the Bears as they try to get back on track. Brant Shine.
Shine's got to tee off. When we say tee off, he's got to get perpendicular.
Trying to lift that underarm.
Shine's doing a job here, staying aggressive.
Could not quite control that, but he gets 3 back points and takes a 7-0 lead here at 112 pounds.
Get the camera when we get a chance to pan over the East Brunswick bench. It's the new coach, Steve Roy. He's right there in the match doing all the moves right from the side. He's giving me a workout watching him.
Well, the young guys always do that. They're bouncing around all over the place.
There he is. Steve Roy, he's into this bout.
Shine working a cradle.
Thank our cameraman for flashing over there for us.
A little bit high right now.
And it's Valdez picking up a 2-point reversal, and Shine with a quick 2-point reversal back.
Stu, something must have happened. Glenn Pazinko was very upset by something going on there, and I'm not sure if there might have been an illegal hold or potentially dangerous hold that allowed Valdez to get that reversal. But Glenn was on his feet, and you know, Glenn is enthusiastic, but he very seldom comes that emotional. He was up almost by next to the mat.
Well, his team's down 25-16. He wants to get back in this dual meet, and you know, he doesn't want to see this slip away. But I think he, you know, he really can't converse with the official. He's going to get a warning here, I think.
Enough. Enough, Coach. That's the last time I'm going to tell you. That's enough.
And that was a freebie warning. The rules this year really, the emphasis has been on sportsmanship. And one rule we didn't see applied, and I was going to keep my mouth shut, but since we're on the subject, when the captains come out to the middle of the mat now, the coaches are supposed to come along too, and the referee's supposed to give them a statement about sportsmanship.
That I didn't realize.
And it's Valdez.
Valdez turns quickly over.
Shine's got to try to roll through here.
He's got to kick over. He's got that chin.
As the Woodbridge bench is erupting here. And Shine's got to hang tough here. He's got a lot of time he's got to work with. He's got to stay tough with 1:36 on the clock. He's got to try to get parallel and try to roll through.
He's bridging.
It's Valdez in the advantage point. It's Shine stepping over.
Stepping back. If he can hook that leg, he'd be in a little better position. He's got the other leg now.
Beautiful job by Shine, hanging tough, not giving up. He's still up 9-5, but he's going to probably give up 3 back points.
Those points have been awarded by
so
Donnie
we're at
Waldron. 9-5.
And Shine looks like he's going to pick up 1 here, maybe, if we can free himself up. Shine just...
Well, Valdez is going with the muscle moves all the way right now.
Yep.
He's trying to push it.
Shine picks up 1 neutral. Shine did a nice job. Fought out of that. He's up 10-5. You can never let up in wrestling. You always got to stay aggressive.
Glenn's a little concerned. Glenn Pazinko is a little concerned that the arm came across the neck.
Well, Woodbridge looks like he's asking for a timeout.
Time.
Valdez,
Go to your coach. Stay on the mat.
Lost his breath or looks a little wobbly right there. He's going to get a 10-2 if we see Coach Bronsdorf talking to Valdez, motioning for some water.
And on the other side, Glenn Pazinko, and he's making the point that he's saying 3 times the arm came across the neck.
Well, another rule now, the referee used to prevent the coaching during the timeouts. Now the officials are supposed to go to the head table until the timeout's over. And they're trying to keep the referee away from the sidelines now.
Well, I always felt it was a little crazy not to let the coaches coach. I mean, the kids may have been hurt, but to not be able to talk to your wrestlers because of a timeout, I always felt was a little unreasonable. But we are now on our feet again. 10-5 is the score. Brant Shine in the lead, trying to be aggressive. 45 seconds to go. Again, now with a takedown.
Valdez picks up 2. We got a chant of Valdez going on the Woodbridge side of the gym. And we just thought I saw locked hands there real quick. We'll take it right now. See the score on our TV monitor in front of us, a new feature added by EBTV. I kind of like that, Coach.
Brant Shine trying to peel those hands off. He's got 17 seconds to maintain the lead, and right now,
Shine just trying to hang on.
He's looking for the 3-point win if he can get it. He had a significant lead and then gave up a number of points on a near fall and the escape that he got in the takedown by Valdez. 7 seconds to go, a 3-point lead for Brant Shine here at 112 pounds.
Well, with 7 seconds to go, Valdez is probably going to try to let him up, and
he's giving him the 1 to get 2. And
try to get him to his back.
He did not give him the escape. So it will stay at 10-7. And, you know, I'll tell you the truth, looking at that right there with that front headlock, it did look like Valdez was locking up around the neck a little bit, and maybe Glenn Pazinko had a very valid point as the Bears pick up 3 points and now trail by 6, 25-19, moving to 119 pounds. And as I said, a name that we've heard many times and seen many times here at East Brunswick. Ackerman is Matt Ackerman, 119 pounds for the Bears against Chuck Sabin of Woodbridge.
Well, if we ever needed a pin, right now is the time, and hopefully Matt Ackerman can get the Bears back on target.
5 bouts to go here at the match between the two GMC.
Well, waiting in the wings for Woodbridge is Matt Buchanan, and he's one of the stronger Woodbridge wrestlers.
Yes.
So coming up 2 weight classes from 1 weight class from now, we're going to hit some strength in the Woodbridge lineup. So East Brunswick certainly need something big here from Matt. Matt's certainly capable of doing it, and let's see if Matt can be the aggressor here and take charge of this bout. If Matt's trying to work in on a single, needs to cut the corner, convert it for a takedown. Matt's got it tight, switching off to a double.
A step up, turn it.
He's caught in the middle.
Good hip throw by Sabin, gets the takedown.
So scoreboard says 125, but we're at 119.
119.
So Buchan's actually 2 weight classes away.
Sabin working up a little bit high. Got good wrist control. That's where Matt Ackerman is working on to peel that off and break that wrist. Got pretty good position. Sabin does.
Sabin looks like he's got his leg caught in there. We're going to get a stalemate.
Yeah.
Which basically means we get a fresh start. The referee feels there's no advancement. Neither wrestler can break their hold or advance. What's called a stalemate, we just get a fresh start.
Well, Matt trying to scoot outside, stopped by Sabin.
Well, Matt's strong on his feet. He's got to try to get back up. And try to work takedowns. He's got to try to explode, get back to a table, get back to his knees and his base.
Off his neck. Off his neck.
Sabin is just a freshman for Woodbridge. And now broken into the starting lineup. So obviously they're expecting a lot from this young man.
I believe Matt was at 103 last year, if I'm correct, Coach.
I think you might be right.
When you start talking about going up 2 weight classes and beginning the lineup, it's 15–20% of your body. It's a big jump.
You know what? I think Matt was just down at 112 last year, not 103. He wasn't that far down. Still over the course of the match, we talk about the scoring as we go through this, but just a quick review. We're more than halfway through, but just to let people be aware, from a team standpoint, you pick up 3, 4, 5 or 6 points. 3 points for a regular decision where you win by points. As Matt Ackerman tries to come up, he's got the
tilt.
You got to reverse it.
No, the scoreboard's off, so we're in the second. He's starting on top. He's going to pick up 2 for the tilt, and still has it one-on-one, and now he's trying to work another tilt.
If you win by a decision up to a 7-point margin, it's 3 points for the team. If you win from 4 to 15, 4 to 14.
8 to 15.
8 to 15. It is a 4-point decision.
15 without a pin is a 5-point called the tech fall. And then ultimately, if you pin your opponent, you pick up 16 points.
The technical fall is when you score that 15th point, match is over at that point.
Right. If you're in the process of a pin, the referee will let you continue for the fall.
And Matt Ackerman picks up another 3 points, so he takes the lead 5-2. This is,
in addition, bout points are scored. If you can escape your opponent, that'd be 1 point. to a neutral position. If you take your opponent down, you pick up a 2-point. And if you can get a reversal, it's 2 points. And of course, take your opponent to the back for a quick count, less than 5 seconds, you pick up 2 near fall points. In 5 seconds or more, you would pick up 3 team points.
I think sometimes we talk about it so easily because we've been around it for so long, and there's some technical aspects to it, but it's pretty straightforward once you get to watch it and you get to see what's going on. Matt Ackerman in control as the period comes to an end here, and a 5-2 lead.
And certainly
for
these
the
guys
junior.
out on the mat, it's just, second nature.
Sure.
It's all about positioning, and Matt is up 5-2 here with a period to go.
And right now, Matt Ackerman is in the defense position. He's on the bottom. He can score, as you were saying, by either coming out to a neutral position on his feet for 1 or getting on top and controlling the other wrestler for 2 points.
Well, he did a nice job at that tilt in the second period, so
Yes, he did.
hopefully Matt can get back on top and maybe pick up some bonus points here, build on that decision.
Now, he was taken down in the first period and was not able to break the control of Chuck Sabin. He's got pretty good wrist control. And
Matt's got to stay aggressive here. He can't afford to give up any points, certainly.
There's no back points yet. The neutral or up and down motion given by Don Waldron, the referee.
The East Brunswick bench yelling to Matt, get one. They want him, they don't want him hanging out down on the bottom. He can only get in trouble there. Matt needs to get back up to his feet, work up. As we've said countless times here, the best defense is to stay offensive.
Right now, Sabin has been pretty aggressive and very physical in trying to control it. Matt coming right to face him. He's got a leg. You've got to pull that in, step up, and try to cut the corner, as you say. 35 seconds to go here in the third period at 119 pounds. Matt Ackerman with a 5-2 lead.
Clock got 13 ticks left, and Matt Ackerman trying to cut the corner.
Well, right now, all he needs to do is just hang in there and not give up any points, because a win by the Bears is what's needed, and he's going to get that. A 5-2 decision by Matt Ackerman, pulling the Bears to within 3 on the scoreboard. 25-22, Woodbridge in the lead.
Well, Matt Parabella's brother, Nick, is going to take the mat here and see if we can get the Parabella family on the left side this time.
Nick Parabella is a junior, and he's going to be going up against Chris Mercado. Mercado, a senior for the Barons. A 125-pound matchup. 4 bouts to go here in this match between the Barons and the Bears.
Parabella shooting first. We're going to get a fresh start as we go out of bounds.
Work in, out, still neutral. Center.
Stu, this is about the most time we've had in the first period without some kind of a score. We seem to have had a lot of takedowns, quick takedowns, and both wrestlers kind of feeling each other out, moving around a little bit. Donnie Waldron telling them to get back into the center. They have worked the edge a little bit.
Well, another give you wherever we can throw in a rule, we'll throw one in for you. And you see Nick is wearing a hairnet. In wrestling, your hair cannot exceed your shirt collar or the lobe of your ear, or you have to wear a hairnet. So you see, that's why Nick's got that hair piece on. And a few years ago, I guess kids didn't want to cut their hair, and somewhere along the lines to accommodate, I believe it was for religious reasons, they came up with this concept of the hairnet. Something's been around the last few years.
Well, there was a time, and you probably remember it as a wrestler, and I still remember it as a wrestler and a coach and as an official, of taking those scissors and trimming the kid's hair.
Been there, done that.
It was not an uncommon practice, and I know there were probably a few parents who were not real happy about it, but the rules were the rules, and I think we've kind of accommodated a lot of the changes in style. Allowing mustaches now, all kinds of things that happen.
Well, you're certainly right. What we're doing is accommodating the change in our lifestyles.
Absolutely.
And rather lose a wrestler, I guess, over long hair, they made a provision where the wrestler could stay in the loop.
Well, for the first time all night, we had a scoreless first period.
New Brunswick.
Chris Mercado staying in control here in the second period.
Still red.
Well, we're locked at 0.
But the only thing we haven't talked about tonight is the overtime if we end up in a tie.
Let's hope we don't, because I'm a little shaky on that rule myself. my problem is, even though I officiate, I've been jumping back from high school to college, and the rule's different. So
Nick Parabello coming outside, and he does get the escape.
I'll take a crack at it for you.
And the rule has changed. And the rule has changed
a
few times over the last few years.
They'll go 1 minute overtime on their feet, and that's called overtime. Then we'll do,
and that's a sudden death, right?
Then we'll do 2. If no one scores in that 1 minute, we'll do sudden death, which is 2 30-second periods that are both wrestled. Regardless, each wrestler has a choice of position for that 30 seconds. And if it ends in a tie again, then we'll go to 30-second. Another 30-second overtime period where the wrestler who scored first will have choice of position.
Well, Nick Parabello had an opportunity to get in there and score. He's still got to come around and face.
That's what he's got to do.
Mercado.
He's got to try to square his shoulders, get his head up.
He's defended so far pretty well, but right now Mercado is the aggressor, and with the buzzer sounding, no change. And Nick Parabello holds on to the 1-point lead as we go to the third period. Mercado taking the bottom.
Well, you might see some strategy applied here by Parabello. You can't give up 2 points here. If he gets in trouble, he's better off giving 1 than the 2.
Just gets his caution there.
So let's see how Parabello elects to defend himself here in the third.
Mercado comes to his feet.
Giving up 1 might not necessarily be the worst thing, and that's probably the best thing for Nick. It's awful hard to stay on top and ride a guy for 2 minutes, especially when they're, you've been in a 1-0 bout. Obviously, there's no one's dominated. And
there have been no takedowns, but Mercado has gotten in a little bit, and it was only the defense of Parabello that prevented it, and they call it potentially dangerous.
On your feet.
Mercado lifted Parabello off. Stu, now, didn't he have an opportunity to bring him down, or are they going to stop that more quickly now?
I think he might have stopped it because both of Parabello's wrists were tied up. So if they went to the mat, he'd have no way to brace himself.
Right, okay.
It was actually a good safety call by our official.
Thank you for that explanation, because I wasn't quite sure. Nick Parabello getting in.
And that's 2.
He's got...
Once the wrestler bears the weight on the hands, regardless of the knees touching the mat, it's a takedown.
You didn't give me a chance to show off there and explain that. Thank you for that.
Stole your thunder.
He's hanging on the ankle. 5 seconds, coach. 5 seconds.
Wrestlers are stopped. We're gonna get a fresh start in the middle.
To the butt for 5 seconds, coach.
Well, Nick Parabello got the takedown, but
Now
then
tell me why I officiate again.
well, why do I officiate? I do the same thing. And I get a coaches right behind me in football on the side as a sideline official.
Well, one thing about having a round wrestling mat, there's no corners to hide in.
3-2. Nick Parabello for the Bears with the lead.
Parabella needs to stay aggressive here. He cannot afford to give up that takedown. He's up by 1.
He's been warned for stalling as well, so he can't. The next one would be a point.
Well, he's got no margin to play with here.
34 seconds to go with Mercado coming around.
No, he's
and he gets the takedown.
Now it's Parabella. It's got to get back up to his feet. He's got to work to tie this up.
He needs a point just to get the tie. 20 seconds to go here. This is a critical match right now and a potentially dangerous.
Around the neck, potentially dangerous. You're down, James.
Arm came down across the neck and a stop. A good break for Nick Parabello. And you wonder a little bit, did the complaining earlier on by Grant Pazinko put a thought at least in Donnie Waldron's head about that neck? 14 seconds to go. Nick Parabello down by a point here at 125.
Parabella's got to explode.
He just needs 1.
He's got to get the 1. Shouldn't even concern himself with 2. Just try to get himself free.
And he will not.
And that's a crucial win for Woodbridge.
As the Barons go up by 6. Chris Mercado winning the match at 125 with an escape and a takedown in the last minute over Nick Parabello.
Down by 6 with 3 bouts to go.
And here's a situation. Matt Buchan, or is it Buchan?
I think it's Buchan or Buchan or
for the Barons.
Call him Matt, which is a great name for a wrestler.
And except that people walk all over you too often. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist that. Kenny Charleston is the wrestler for the Bears at 130 pounds. A 6-point margin for the Barons.
Caution, Woodbridge.
And before we even start, Kenny Buchan's, Matt Buchan's excitement a little bit too much as he bounces around. And very aggressive as he backs up Kenny Charleston. Kind of sets a tone for a wrestler.
If I'm not mistaken, Buchan was district champ and second in the county last year.
Well, he's been pretty aggressive just in these first few seconds of this match. But you start to concern yourself a little bit. Sometimes you get too pumped up, too wound up, and you end up doing something foolish. Gets the takedown.
Well, East Brunswick was certainly maybe a slight favorite on paper coming into this dual meet, but that's why we wrestle. Anything can happen out here as we see Buchan working a bar and a half, staying aggressive. Charleston needs to free up his arms, work back to his base. Needs to look away from the half, and let's stop for potentially dangerous. Potentially dangerous is different from an illegal hold. In the sense that an illegal hold could be a technical violation, give up points. And potentially dangerous, the referees is stopping a situation that could lead to injury.
Buchan was 20-7 last year. He was at top at 130 pounds, so he's coming back at the same weight class.
Did have a sudden change in hair color, though. Remember him being blonde last year, Coach. So,
well, you know how that goes.
Yeah. Just trying to stay away from the gray right now, you know.
With that stretched out cross body, Buchan with a pretty tight control over Kenny Charleston.
Buchan, doing a good job of technique here, using a variety of moves.
He picks up the 3 points on the near fall.
He's got a one-on-one there on the near side. Now he's trying to work into a tilt. Charleston doing a nice job trying to counter holding that ankle. But he's giving up back points in the process. He's got at least, he's got 3 in the bank. Now you can only get 1 set of back points per the same move. So right. unless Buchan can change the the pinning combination, he's not going to pick up any additional points.
Well, stalemate called by Don Walden with 6 seconds to go here in the first, and an 8-0 lead for Matt Buchan.
Okay, Woodbridge.
So from that rather inauspicious bouncing around at the beginning and a caution before the whistle was even blown, Buchan has now come up with 8 points and is in pretty good control here at 130 pounds over Kenny Charleston. Red has the choice. Buchan from Woodbridge with the choice, and he is...
Red takes offense. Screen, you're down.
As you heard Don Waldron make that call.
I like that with the mic on the official.
Yeah.
He beat TV with its act together here, Coach.
I like it. It puts you right in the middle of the action. And it helps the fans at home because they don't have to listen to us all the time. And somebody at home just said, yeah, it's about time they said that.
Well, at least they don't have to look at us.
That's true.
You can always mute the TV.
Buchan with control there, putting him over. He's got back points. Kenny Charleston is in trouble here.
Well, if he picks up, I believe if he picks up.
Still calling that the same combination. He's got 3 more.
Well, I believe if he picks up a tech fall here, the lead would be insurmountable. If East Brunswick got even 2 pins, that would bring them to 28.
No, not a pin here.
Sorry.
A pin here. The worst you could do is a tie.
Tie, correct.
I always had the math down.
Yeah, I thought it would be the 5 tech fall, but now taking a look at it, you're right. It would have to be the fall, and
I didn't even use my fingers on that one. Too. Well, Kenny Buchan performing a bit of a clinic out here at 130 pounds as he's very much in control. Got that bar across there. Runs it, has the chin. And it looks like he might be on the line.
Yeah, can't pick up points there. It's actually a safe haven for him right now. If he can.
He's got to push himself out of bounds right now. If he turns him in, he's got a bit of a problem.
As long as the shoulders are in, and that's a nice job by Buchan.
Very strong. 21 seconds to go here. And a fall.
That's going to give the Barons the win, and not only the bout, but the dual meet.
3:45 of the second period. The fall by Matt Buchan.
Well, the best East Brunswick could do now is 2 pins, and they can tie it 34-34.
Now, do we still have ties, or we go to a criteria for a winning of this match?
No more ties.
So then we go to criteria, and I don't have that in front of me, and I'm not sure.
By memory, I think the first criteria is the number of bouts won, and then the second criteria is pins. And don't ask me after that.
Okay.
This is Chris Williams on the mat for East Brunswick. He's taking out, oh God, Coach, this name, help me here. Adrian
Daskowitz. We've lived close enough to South River and Sayreville long enough. You should be able to say that name.
I'm on the North Brunswick side of town.
Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, in talking to and Chris gets a takedown there. Actually, in talking with some of the Woodbridge wrestlers, Daskowitz actually is from Poland. He has come to America. Right. You're right. Well, it's always a difficult situation when it comes down to the last couple of bouts and you have to pin just to come up with close to a tie. Right now, the Bears have won 5 bouts. Woodbridge has won 7. And if they should pin these last 2, we'd have a 7-7. So if the criteria is most bouts won, then we're going to go to the second criteria. And at that point, I think it's, as you said, it might be pins. I think you're right. And
actually, I think it's penalties first and then pins.
Penalties is terms of individual bout penalties?
Team points deducted for...
right, okay. I think you might be right. But there haven't been any. at this point.
You know what? I'm going to bring my rule book to our next broadcast. How's that?
You're one of the senior officials in Middlesex County, right?
I don't know if that's anything to brag about.
No.
Though.
Okay. Well, Dowskowitz gets the escape as he comes to his feet and moves out in front. 35 seconds to go here in the first period.
Well,
Chris reaching for the arm, for the leg rather, and
Chris ever had a pin in him, and now's the time we need it.
gets the takedown. Good, good finish on that.
When you're down 34-22 with 2 bouts to go, a tie's not looking so bad. Haven't seen trainer Phil Hostler tonight, but I'm sure he's around somewhere. Speaking of matriarchs in the field, certainly one there.
Patriarchs, I think. Patriarchs, I think you want. Well, if in fact, just to kind of speculate and stretch this out a little bit, that's the first period came to a close there. 4-1, Chris Williams in the lead. Just to stretch it out, if East Brunswick should pin these last 2 matches, then we'd have 7 bouts, 1 in each. If they pin out, we'll have 4 pins apiece. So we ran out of criteria.
Doing some wishful thinking over there.
Very wishful thinking. Chris Williams in some trouble now as Dowskowitz gets the cradle.
It is, you know, very interesting how, you know, we were talking about earlier with the matchups, how East Brunswick went through J.P. Stevens. J.P. Stevens went through Woodbridge, but yet, you know, Woodbridge having its way with East Brunswick here.
Well, Coach Pazinko made that one switch at 189 and 215, which worked out very well for him and got those 2 pins in there, but
just wasn't enough.
After that, there were a couple of situations where I think they thought they had a couple of more significant situations and weren't able to complete them, and then got caught a couple of times and some falls that probably shouldn't have been given up, but, you know, Woodbridge came in ready to fight. You know, they're wearing that on their sweatshirts, their warm-ups. They have Carpe Diem on the back, seize the day, and I think that's exactly what they came in to do tonight.
I'm so glad you said that, because I've been wondering for the last hour and a half what that meant.
Well, they teach Latin at my school.
Okay.
And
I was just too embarrassed to ask because I felt like something I should know. I think it appears somewhere, right?
Well, it's
some coin or domination of money.
Well, you had to watch Dead Poet Society with Robin Williams. That's the one.
That's it. All right.
Carpe Diem, seize the day.
Thank you.
And right now, Woodbridge has seized the night.
You're waiting to use that.
I was waiting that one. You know, you got to hold it off at the right moment. I've watched Dick Enberg enough. You know, you hold those quotes out for the right moment. 18 seconds to go here in the second period at 135 pounds. And next to the last bout of the night, Chris Williams for East Brunswick up by 1 point over Adrian Dowskowitz for Woodbridge. Chris took the early lead with a couple of takedowns, got caught at the beginning of this period, and gave up the 3-point near fall, and has come back and held off Dowskowitz.
Bottom, top, or neutral? Bottom, top, or neutral? Red takes offense. You down?
Well, again, Chris Williams will be in the third period on the bottom as he began the second period. And a chant of Adrian from the Woodbridge team. As you said, though, Stu, if Chris Williams has a pin in him somehow, he's got to come up right now and make it happen.
Well, he's got 1 minute and 37 seconds to work with. He's got to get aggressive. Trying to work a roll. He's got the one wrist tied, but you see Woodbridge's done a nice job all night out, just hooking that ankle and just.
They have controlled very well. Their balance has been good. Their leg control has been good. And they've really been very physical up on top, too, whether it's cross faces or controlling the wrist.
Well, the last few bouts, they've certainly, you know, as much as we're EBTV here, they've certainly out-wrestled the Bears the last few weight classes. Seem to have a stronger third period. And, you know, scored a lot of points as the bout moves along.
Work up, East Brunswick. Work up to a base.
Donnie Waldron telling Chris he's got to work up. He's been flattened out, has not come up, and he's got to keep being aggressive. 36 seconds to go here in the last period. Chris Williams leads by 1, but he's on the, based on what Waldron was saying, he's on the verge of getting warned. And there again, across the neck, something that several Woodbridge wrestlers have done, and something that Glenn Pazinko has been complaining about. And certainly it's not illegal as long as it's not squeezing. But at the same time, it has caused a great deal of discomfort and unsettling for the Bears. 5 seconds to go, and it does not look like there's going to be much scoring here, but that is enough, however. A win by Chris Williams, 5-4.
Well, certainly a lot of parity going on in the red division this year. Outside of Old Bridge, we might have a lot of interchangeable dual meets. Just because A beats.
No, you're right. It's not necessarily anything that's being looked at on paper. It's going to be settled on the mat as we bring out Todd Marriott, the last bout at 140 pounds. Next week, as you said, we're going to be here for Piscataway. Yeah. They are under a new coach, and it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back. They've been a little bit down.
Mike coaching Piscataway. Now Todd taking the mat for his own personal gain here. Dual meet's out of control, but Todd wrestling for Todd right here. Let's see what Todd can do. And he's been around the Bear lineup for a long time, and this one's all about him right here.
Well, the match is over as far as the final score, 34-25. The best the Bears can do is a 34-31 loss should Marriott pin. But you're right, and really it comes down to that in wrestling all the time, Stu. It's you're wrestling as an individual, you're wrestling for your team, but you got to go out there and do your best, whatever the situation may be. Tries to shoot in. Good counter by Woodbridge. Woodbridge has countered very well. They've had some good recoveries and. Yes, Stu, as you've said, Woodbridge has been very aggressive, and they finished very strong. They've come on very well at the end of matches and finished up. And those two pins in the middle of the lineup, when Jimmy Ryder and Sergio Garcia finished off very well, were the two very, very bright spots. And an illegal hold, I didn't see what it was.
Looks like a full Nelson.
Was it?
Actually, it was I believe. We can't go backwards on the TV, but I think it was a double underhook from the back.
Yeah.
No arm.
Headlock.
Explanation from the front. From the front. Front headlock with
Okay,
no arm.
ready?
Okay.
To be honest with you, I think I'd have to see it again. I kind of took my eyes off it and missed it. Well, won't be the first time I missed something out there.
But a lot of times though, even as an official and you're watching things, it catches you off guard. Good shot by Marriott. Gets in there very deep.
Nice job. Turks it up. Steps in. Throws to half. Looking for more. Todd's got to come out to the side. He's got to walk towards the head.
He's got time. 22 seconds to go here in the first period. He's got him from the front. He's got to lift that head, put some pressure on it, arch in, and
he
fall.
Sticks him.
1:44 the first period, a pin by Todd Marriott, so half of what they needed at the end. But
they put a little respect back on the board.
But a final score of 34-31 with Woodbridge victorious. The Bears fall to 1-2, and Woodbridge evens their record out at 2-2, having lost and won to a Red Division team. And the Bears next week will be facing off against Old Bridge and Piscataway, both at home. Old Bridge on Monday and Piscataway on Wednesday. And we'll be back here on Wednesday night, right? For the
I think it's Wednesday and Friday, Coach.
Wednesday and Friday for that. I'm sorry, you're right. Wednesday and Friday. Old Bridge on Wednesday and next Friday, Piscataway, both at home. The Bears will also be going to a tri-meet out at Bridgewater against Hackettstown and the Panthers this weekend. But Very aggressive performance by Woodbridge, coming on very strong. The Bears picking up 6 wins along the way. Just to review that very quickly, wins by the Bears by Jordan Braun, a major decision there. Followed up by Jimmy Ryder's pin and Sergio Garcia's pins at 189 and 215. That's where Glenn Pazinko made that switch and moved around, and it was a good move at that time and was very successful. We then had wins by Brant Shine, who hung on at the end, did a very aggressive job in the middle, and then was able to hold on for the win. And then Matt Ackerman finishing up at a 5-2 victory there. And finally, wins by Chris Williams and Todd Marriott at the end. Marriott with a pin, so the Bears with 3 pins on the night. But a good performance by Woodbridge, and you know, a very young team, both very young teams, and so both teams are going to make mistakes and get back and forth and give away a lot just as much as they score.
Strong finish by Marriott there at the fall at the end, staying aggressive. You know, knew the team couldn't win the dual meet, but went out there and put a little respect back on the board for the Bears.
And as you said, kids have to go out there and they wrestle for themselves and perform, and he could certainly have packed it in. He did not do that. So we have a Woodbridge win. Final score of 34-31 for Stu Kohn. I'm Bob Cancro. Thank you very much for watching.
Always a pleasure, Bob. Thank you.
Thank you.